So, as I said, I'm just here to moderate this a little bit, and we are producing and finding news in the whole world. So this is how I know all of you, and I hope we can discuss some of the general news of the last weeks. But I've also found a couple of news that are somewhat bound to what you guys do. So I'd love to go right into it and start it. So I did that already. And I will jump, since I know there's not a lot of time left, to the first big news of the last weeks. This is not directed to Anika, but maybe a little bit. It says Magic Leap gets a new investment round led by Axel Springer. And
pretty well informed.
A little bit. So, journalist turned head of business development at Axel Springer. Maybe you can say and tell us a little bit about it and about the points that we figured.
Well, yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's almost a week that we announced that we are also investing in Magic Leap. That's been the big announcement of the week. Further to that, we have a female CEO now, which is quite as much important. But back to Magic Leap, yeah, we got a minor share on investment, and we believe why we did that. We strongly believe that for our assets, and for those of you who don't know, Axel Springer, for our journalistic brands, but also for our classified brands, so for real estate and retail assets that we also own. This is quite an opportunity, and we'll have a stake now. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So to all the other guys, what do you think about that? Companies like Axel Springer coming in late into investment rounds in this size into an AR startup like Magic Leap. I mean, you're all doing VR businesses, but of course I can imagine you're thinking about pivoting into AR and in your future as well. Do you have any thoughts about it? Maybe Stephane, you gave me the look already.
Yeah. Was it purely a financial or strategic investment into Magic Leap in the sense that do you see MR as a way to enhance your activities as well? So you not only a believer in Magic Leap in the future on the financial side, but although on the day-to-day as a new computing platform. So I'm curious to see how you see MR working in your direction.
Yeah, the vision behind this, like you said, the strategic vision, so actually thinking about actual products. So what would our content, may it be narrative content or branded content or any type that we own on a computing platform, and what would it look like in mixed reality. So this is really our vision, and we are ambitious now, like to have the actual first product, not only the glasses, but actually the first cases and products. Yeah.
So at the studio, for us, it's pretty clear that down the road, VR, AR, MR will all converge on the same platform. So we're really talking about a new computing platform, which will, embrace all that together. As content creator, it's hard to not think about AR and MR, so we're definitely looking into it, and mostly looking at the creative challenge it brings. So talking with different companies developing AR and MR solution on the creative side, we really feel like we are back 5 years ago, as we initially we had our first conversation with Oculus, where they were asking us, trying to figure out, hey guys, what is storytelling in VR? And then now the question is, what is storytelling in MR? What does that mean? How can you tell a story where you don't control the environment? So which kind of stories, new stories, can you bring? So, it's easy to imagine how it's going to change our life, as much as smartphones change our life. XR, for once, we move, from being there, we could be standing up and looking at the real world and exchanging, interacting. So on the application side, working environment, and etc., it's pretty clear. On the creative side, it's super challenging. It's awesome. And I invite everybody to start thinking about it. How do you, think about telling a story, getting your audience engaged into a narrative form in this new medium? We're still trying to figure it out. But we don't give away VR. We're still focusing on VR, but definitely thinking about XR as something interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting to, the promise of Magic Leap, a consumer device geared towards entertainment AR, where typically when people talk about AR, it's always around business applications and enterprise. So being that, strategic investment coming from Springer and thinking about how it can tie in with their brands beyond just, traditional business applications, I think is a step in the right direction to bring entertainment into an AR, MR environment.
Speaking to you as a specialist of distributing VR content, Sönke also knows a lot about it. He's doing 360 and VR productions. Do you think you have new problems, new hurdles that you need to take in terms of distributing VR, AR content? Because there's only the hope of Magic Leap for right now. Do you have bigger plans for AR, or do you think you can make an easy pivot from VR to AR?
Yeah, for us, we take in master assets and we prepare them for delivery. So it could be a 360 video, an OBJ file. I think that the first wave that we'll see is mobile AR, right? With Google's AR Core and Apple announcing AR Kit. So we're actively working with both teams to, build that functionality into our existing mobile apps. So from working with Google, they didn't want us to build a standalone AR application for our mobile device. They wanted us to incorporate AR into our existing devices. So you can our existing apps. So you can have a 360 video experience, but then you can also toggle over into your AR camera and have assets available. And the use case at first will be very simple, like a world builder of bringing assets, characters, almost like sticker packs in AR. And then I think we'll start to get to more sort of storytelling tabletop experiences. But I think the first sort of wave we'll see is the mobile AR coming.
Awesome, thank you. Do you want to point something out too?
Yeah, totally agree. What I'm wondering about is as well, again, how long does it take that there is proper content available in an entertainment sector? When do people start to work in that field to create projects that are working for an audience and they are willing to pay for the technology on the one hand and pay for content on the other end, because we see it in VR right now.
True.
How much people are willing.
Very true. I think the same. So coming to the next news. Stephane, what do you say? Yeah, we have to do some neck twisters because we don't see what you see. We have to turn and watch there. It is about Felix and Paul helping Wes Anderson or cooperating with Wes Anderson to get Isle of Dogs VR experience, right? The mock documentation, documentation, and another one, the debut of Space Explorers at Sundance. So a lot of things going on for you right now, and big, like some big corporations again from Felix and Paul. How's it going?
Working with Mr. Anderson was great, and to me that's the best making of ever made in this story. But really, like you're working with...
I agree.
No, but it is. Like Wes Anderson is so meticulous in all the choice, in the framing, in the composition of each single of his shot, and working in stop motion. And when you watch the VR experience, you will see all that. You will see all the attention to the detail. You see the animators work. So if you haven't seen it, you have the characters, the dogs, talking to you in front of you. So you have, Wes Anderson works in the frame a lot, in 2D framed. And we gave him the opportunity to work in an environment which has no frame. So you can imagine the challenge for someone like him. Not a creative challenge, but for someone who likes to control every single details. But we gave him the frame in front of him where he can work on all the dogs and the story to be told, and it's the dog talking about their own role. So you get Bill Murray as the dog talking why he loves his character. And then you look all around and you get all the animators in real time, and you see in one screen all the hands, how they animate, all the small details. You see the animators out building the puppets and the set, and you get a screen where you see Wes animating, like giving the direction, the creative direction of the facial movement, the lips, the eye, and that's amazing because when you Wes movies, like all the puppets, you connect right away with the character and you forget it's a puppet and you have all the facial and you understand that he's actually directing it. He's doing the face, he's embodying every single character. That's amazing. So and that's, to us, hopefully that's what would spark future collaboration with other filmmakers like Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, and I think it's good, Val. I mentioned this earlier, but when you have A-list directors and A-list talent getting in on VR, I think it's just more validation that it's all heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. Sönke, I'd like to know from you what you think. This was something that is great for storytelling, I believe, because you told everyone about Wes, how he directs things in animated VR. Sönke, you have been working a lot in 360, and there are coming VR films, and people don't know what VR films are. So when I ask regular people, they ask me, what is it really? Is it a 360 movie? Is it an animated VR movie? What is it? What do you think? Which is the better content, or maybe the easiest to distribute content? Is it 360 video that we need right now, or is it what they do, animated VR films?
I would say not one or the other. It's there are audiences for different things and different kind of contents, and that's why I'm not too much into the discussion anymore if 360 video is VR or not. If it's a virtual reality experience, virtual reality headset, then it is an experience in this kind of medium. And there are lean back people who just want to get entertained but don't want to interact. And interaction doesn't fit to all kind of storytelling as well. So it really depends on the content. Of course, a 360 video, a 2D 360 video is easier to distribute than an interactive thing in what scale ever. But probably a 2D 360 video that can be played back easily on YouTube or Facebook is probably not the stage that you need to make it necessary to put on a virtual reality headset. So I would say something more 3D-ish 360 would be probably more a VR thing, and it's easily to distribute.
Great, thank you. So yeah, let's go to the next point. So we have a HMD which is dominating market numbers, which is nobody is sure if that is the good thing, the best thing that could happen. The PSVR dropped to $200, and they're selling the most HMDs. We've been speaking of different kinds of VR content now, VR films, animated, 360, etc., etc. PSVR is another level of VR content, which is not very high quality, even though they have high quality producers, and then which is not really low quality, which is not like a smartphone and a cardboard. It's in between. So what do you think about this? Is this needed? Do we need home market dominance, penetration, or do we need something else like LBVR for example? Or what do you think, how many need to be sold to be a big market, a real market?
From my perspective, I would say it's not only the penetration of this kind of technology, and it doesn't matter so much if it's a PlayStation VR or another headset. It's on the quality of content and the amount of money, of course, that people are willing to pay because they get what they really want to have. This is a completely different system than the HTC Vive, and it's meant for a completely different audience in a way. Of course, it needs a huge amount of them, that you have a huge amount of audience that is perhaps willing to pay a very low price for content, but in the end you get your ROI. It needs a higher penetration than we have right now, that's for sure. But again, that's more a gamer audience that is willing to buy this, and perhaps not so much a film audience, so different audience.
It's hard to tell, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Go from Oculus going on the market. I can't remember the price. Is it $199 or $299?
Yeah, it's slightly less than PSVR.
So it's like you don't need to buy the game. The Gear VR is great. You can buy it for $99, but you need to have a S7 or S8, which costs, I don't know, $800. So then it makes it very expensive. But $200 headset, I think it's a nice present to have. And now there's enough content on this platform, so you get it as a present, and you have enough hours of content to go and explore. Should it be all interactive 6DoF versus 3DoF versus linear content? I think there's some audience who just enjoy watching.
And there are tons of things. I have one directed at Anika before I forget. Sorry, Matt. What do you think? Magic Leap was just announced that it's very expensive. It will be around the price of a high-quality HMD, like a HTC Vive, for example. Do you think that the price matters really, or do you think if the quality is what we all hope it is, it doesn't matter too much anymore?
Well, it would matter to you if you pay $200 or $500, doesn't it?
I mean, if you compare, if I could go into VR by buying a $200 device, or I can go into like Magic Leap AR super duper device, but I pay $700, like I do for my smartphone that I use.
Well,
you know, the comparison is hard to make because of VR and AR, but maybe you have a thought to it.
if it's a new medium, obviously, I mean, we're willing to pay, if we don't have a telephone contract, we're willing to pay like 700, 800, I don't know, even more dollars or euro for a mobile device. So why wouldn't we, for a new medium or for a new device, for new stories and everything?
Do the same.
And you know, you've seen the price dropping for all these headsets in the past 3 years, and it will happen with MR as well.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it was very interesting to read in the media that, you know, Magic Leap wasn't delivering and etc. What they're doing is huge. It's massive. Like you are asking to be able to have full occlusion of light in order to project something. Like that's
It is
not easy.
It is crazy. Let's stay at VR a little bit more. Sorry to interrupt you and bring you to AR. My fault. Let's stay at VR a little bit. We are at VR now and go to the next point. This is one on my own behalf almost because I'm working on this game too. So Sega, one of the oldest and biggest arcade game manufacturers and distributors, they signed a deal with a German-made VR arcade game to distribute this game in 14 different countries on a big scale and bring this game to arcades throughout the world. So this is a huge point for LBVR versus the home market thing, because they believe this will bring what they do, the classic arcade market, to new heights. Well, so the whole LBVR thing, not only this game. What do you think about this whole LBVR versus home market thing? Do you think we need LBVR right now?
Oh, we do, and that's fun.
Absolutely.
Especially to the distribution man. Sorry.
No, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it was talked about through and through today about how important LBE is and how it is often the first window that you can monetize as a content owner. It's a lot of people's first experience in VR, going to, you know, an IMAX and seeing the VR, you know, arcade there, or, you know, spaces like 2-Bit Circus and MK2, you know, popping up with their VR cinemas. I think that we need both. You know, the LBE will drive the home adoption. Ultimately, you know, we sit in the home and that's where we distribute, but I'm talking with all the arcades and all the content owners about, you know, maybe you have your full interactive experience at the LBE, but make a home version that then you can distribute to the consumer at their home as well.
Sönke, the VR cinema, etc., everything what you're working in.
Definitely needed. I'm still hoping that there will be one working for long term in Berlin, everywhere in Germany, and abroad as well, of course. It definitely needs arcades. I love these places, even if I'm not so much a gamer. What I'm wondering a little bit about, or what I'm not sure about, let's say it like that, we're talking about storytelling when we're talking about narrative 360 videos. And we know that we have to have a different approach than if we tell stories in a 16:9 video, and we have different kind of depth of field and so on. I'm wondering a little bit if we need first-hand shooter games in there, or if we could rethink that as well in arcades. I think the content should be different, yeah, shooter games. Yeah.
You wonder if we need them?
Yeah, I wonder if we couldn't think through these arcade things as well, if we would find something else that works as well properly without first training people to shoot.
Yeah, it's just so easy to pivot.
Just a personal...
It's just so easy. I mean, FPS are like the thing in video games, right? So it's just so easy to take it and put it into VR.
And I think what's nice about LBEs also is you can sometimes get an experience that you wouldn't get at your home, right? If you go to an MK2 theater, they have, you know, a positron chair or a D-box chair, which will just give you a different experience than just putting on a headset and watching it at your house. So you can get sort of that special type of experience by going to a location, and then also make it accessible for the, you know, mass market at the home.
But also, content producers could just make their content VR or LB exclusive and just don't distribute it to the home market. That's what this game does, for example. It's not available through Steam or any other distribution platform. It's just available to LBs, and you have to go to some place to play it, which drives the LB business, right? But yeah, let's go to the questions. If anyone has anything about any news, I'm willing to take a couple of questions and try to distribute them back to you guys. No one. He's leaving. Maybe we should all question ourselves why he's leaving. Anyone of you has some topic that are left out that you want to bring out to the masses of the VR Now today? I guess everyone is reading VR Nerdsty and therefore knows everything they know. Micha.
I have a question to Anika, not about Magic Leap, but what's the aim of a company like Axel Springer going into VR at all? Like, what's the main purpose and what's perhaps the business model behind it?
Well, if we start with why we're going in it at all, we are, from a media company point, are really pretty much differentiating between 360 and VR. We do because if we do own our, if we use our own distribution, obviously we are talking about 360. Because if we put it on Bild.de or if we use our Facebook assets, this is 360. If we are talking about investments and future distribution, we are pretty much talking about VR. What is happening in 2 to 3 or 4 years? If we imagine if we're thinking about a virtual browser, what will happen to our assets then? Then we're really talking about virtual reality. But at the same time, to answer your question, I would go certainly with the DNA of storytelling, with the love, and I see your eyes always pretty much sparkling if you really talk about your experiences and about the production, because this is where we originally come from, but also we do need to care about distribution and also about monetization. Yeah.
All right, and since we have 4 minutes left, we come to the last round of questions. I ask you to just give us a quick, brief answer to it, and I have the questions. And because I live off having the news as the first, I asked you, what is the next news we can expect? The last news we had on VR Nerdsty from Matt is from 2016 when they launched the app. I mean, we had recent news from you last week, from Anika too, but Sönke, you owe me a news today also. So I asked you, what is the next thing we can expect from what you do? Go ahead.
We have only 4 minutes left, so
that makes 1 minute each.
Of course, we're working in the field of volumetric VR as well, so there will be definitely some news soonish. We will work on more medium interactive virtual reality things, 360 video with some interaction. I think we heard some approaches already today. There are not so many news if I'm saying we are staying in the field of where we come from, being filmmakers in a way and passionate about storytelling. And hopefully we will find new ways of storytelling soonish with these technologies. Yeah.
Good news, a lot of news.
Anika, some secrets.
For me, it would really be to partner up, to have more corporations, and not only alongside co-productions and production, but really team up and build a whole value chain and ecosystem in order to have a destination or have a main platform, if you would call it, to have something to offer to our clients, but also to the wonderful products that are out there. So more corporations, that would be my headline.
Great, thank you.
More dinosaurs. More dinosaurs. So that's true. We bring 2 more episodes of Jurassic World.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, great.
And
I'll look out for that.
I take 1 minute. Good news. We have an ambitious project. I talked about it. Pink Box. It's a woman character-driven, written by a woman, and will be directed by a woman. It's called Pink Box. It's a sci-fi like Orange is the New Black meets Blade Runner, and we get 40% of the financing in place. And that's an ambitious project. It's a $10 million budget, and in VR, that's kind of, let's try it. So I'm looking for partners for the 60%. So anybody in the room?
Maybe on the stage. All right, thank you. Matt?
Yeah, well, one thing I can say is we just launched the Felix and Paul channel on LittlStar with People's House and hoping to bring more of their catalog to LittlStar soon. So I think that was a big step in getting, one of the biggest VR production companies on our platform. Supporting additional content types. I mentioned our AR support coming for mobile apps, which will be launching next month. And then I guess the biggest thing that we've been working towards is actually launching a proper marketplace with buyers and sellers that will go beyond just 360 video. Right now we've been all 360 video, but this marketplace will support AR and full interactive experiences, things built in game engine. Essentially, a dedicated place for immersive entertainment that goes beyond what Steam can deliver now. With Steam, there's a lot of things there, games, you get lost. With our platform, it's really going to be dedicated towards immersive entertainment, premium things, and we want to make money with all you guys, so let's do it.
Love it. Awesome. So all these news sounded like great news. Thank you for being here and let me stumble you through this panel. I hope to chat with you a little bit at a networking time. Let's go do this.
Thanks. Thank you.